Hello, everyone. Welcome to Knightspeed Game 5. Knights lose a heartbreaker up in Manhattan, Kansas to Kansas State 34-20 on to the University of Kansas Jayhawks this week. I am Matt Johnson, your host, with his brother Mark Johnson.
Hey, everybody.
Um, Last week is, I guess with my prediction, I predicted that we were going to come up short on this one. I didn't think
Okay.
it was going to be by two touchdowns. I thought it was going to be more like by a field goal.
Right.
You know what? We didn't play well. We didn't get help in a lot of aspects of the game. I don't want to mention what the aspects are, but yeah, I think this past week it kind of showed some of the things that we're uh, needing to work on. And I guess we kind of knew this at the beginning of the season. When we got to the tougher part of the schedule, what it was going to look like, and now now we know, right?
Well, yeah, I think what happened was you had K-State get a couple of guys back that were
Well,
out
the
for
running
most
back,
yeah, the running back is one of them. And, um, like I said, before we got on here, I was telling, our starting quarterback gets injured, expecting not to go back out there, and then the backup gets injured
yeah.
and is not really having a great game anyway. He didn't have a bad game per se because we've seen him have worse. And he did throw a pick on his first throw,
Yes, and then an 82-yard touchdown.
right? And the 82-yard touchdown was more of a receiver making a great play and then turning it into a touchdown.
Well, I also looked at. I thought that the DB, like the safety, was came over late, was out of position.
True. Yeah. I mean,
Realized, oh no, there's a guy over here. I got to go run him down.
yeah,
And
I
when he
don't
got,
think he was planning on throwing it on back shoulder. I think he just kind of threw it out there, and like I said, you know, our
yeah,
our wide receiver, made a play.
DJ Black, yeah,
Yeah, DJ Black made a play on him.
and that was the only catch DJ had all day.
It was 82 yards, so
Yeah,
but
so it was.
the defense was not nearly as bad as I think the score shows. I mean,
Oh no, I agree. I think. Well, you think about again going back to Jakari, his other pass, gave the Wildcats, Kansas State gave them a first and 10 on our 26-yard line with that interception.
right.
Which again, so unless you really totally blow it, you're going to at least get points on that.
No, yeah, I mean, and I do want to emphasize too. I was one of those who thought, oh, there was just so much holding on Case, like that fat number 78. My God, that guy couldn't get out of his own way, and all he was doing was tackling. Nicely Kelly was too fast for him, so he
Yeah,
couldn't get up grab him. But it was just kind of one of those things to where it just got silly.
yeah, no, I agree. Um, Again, it was
But I
you go
wouldn't say
to
that's what caused us to lose the game. It did help them, I guess win by 14. I don't think K State's going anywhere
no,
now.
well, they're
Mind you,
two
I
and
don't know if
three,
they're going anywhere, but I don't think K State's. They're not. This is not turning them around. I don't think
so you don't think even a bowl game, huh?
they might be able to. All you need is six wins.
Yeah,
When you get favorable calls like that, and they played pretty well. You know,
yeah.
they were one dimensional. I mean, I don't know how many passing yards they had, but they seem fairly one dimensional. With
Well, Avery Johnson was what 18 to 25 for 168 yards, but
that's
he
not
did throw
great.
two TDs.
Okay, on favorable. Like I said,
Yeah,
it's one of those things. Like I said, I think being the new team in the conference, it's kind of like go ahead and let this team hold again. It's like shut up, we're paying you type thing, rather than you know
you're here. You're
let's
you're
make
here to
this
be one
fair.
of
Be
our.
happy you're getting
Yeah,
paid.
yeah. You're here to be our 10th place team. Deal
Yeah,
with it.
and it's like why bother? Truck stop conference.
Yeah, and it was, but again, you think about it. Dylan Edwards was the highlight of their offense. 20 carries, 166 yards.
Right.
Uh, he had really 2 yards less than Avery Johnson. And you think about it, that was their. They threw the ball to. you know, 7, 8 guys, but they had really John Tibbs was the only guy that really, again, their big receiver, and we let them score, or I'm sorry, catch 8 touches for 72 yards. So, that's your. We didn't really stop a lot of our uh, keys, to win the game. We didn't control, and also we had a few of those bad penalties. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I think we had one less than last week. Um, I'm going to just chalk it up first time on the road. You know, uh, you know, we didn't really kind of show that we're really a team together yet,
yeah,
as well as some kind of bad calls. Like I said, when you allow an offensive line to sit there and hold the way they were holding, it's not going to go your way. Not unless you're just that far and above better than they are.
mm-hmm.
And like again, I'm we're still fighting to get 3 more wins here. I guess they think when you look at our schedule, we've got a couple teams on there, hopefully at home too, by the way, that we should
Yeah,
be able to win. So that's 5. So we're just looking for one more win here, either at home or on the road. Now, if you can win all home games, which would be phenomenal,
yeah,
like we got a tough one coming in this week with Kansas, and
with
they lost to
Kansas.
Cincinnati. So and Jalen Daniels, that guy
Yeah,
had like over 400 yards passing.
yeah. I think you
Um,
could throw. You'll be able to throw the ball in Cincinnati. I think you could probably
well,
throw it on Kansas too, though.
I don't know. Like I said, the one shot that Taven Jackson got that knocked him out, that was a late hit.
Yeah,
It's like, come on, you got to call these things, man. Especially the guy sitting there on the ground flopping around, and that late of a hit. That's what I'm just talking about. Big 12 officiating is we were kind of told that when we joined the conference that you think the AAC is bad, just wait. And I, over the past 3 years or 2.5 years here, I'm just starting. Yeah, it's just
yeah.
poor officiating. So I guess
No,
that's
I
what it
agree.
is.
But yeah, I mean, so I guess we got Kansas. Well, I mean, I guess before I get on to Kansas, anything more you want to say about the K State game?
I'm glad it's
Again,
over. I can't wait to see
yeah,
them in 2 years come to our place for once. And we played them 5 times at their place. This
yeah.
is another problem I have with the Big 12. It's like, Jesus Christ, why do we have to play on the road the same team? You know, I mean, this is one of the things you guys should have known better. That's like, we played these guys 3 times before we even joined the conference on the road. You think but,
Well, the one time they were supposed to come to us, you know what year it was?
they're worrying about basketball, I think.
You know what year they were supposed to come to us?
And they didn't.
Yeah,
No, I don't remember.
2013.
Well, okay.
I remember we went up there and we lost it close, and I want to say it was like 16-14.
Right.
And that's when Schneider was.
Schneider was starting to show that he couldn't do it anymore. Yeah.
But I remember that he was like literally like wasting time and like really bled the game out on us.
Right.
And I remember his team was really kind of senior rich, and then they're supposed to show up the next year, and they didn't. They didn't come. They both their game. They both their way out of the game.
There you go. But like I said, K State's not going to do it. They were picked to be one of the top contenders, and they're not doing anything this year. So,
Yeah,
I guess at the end of the season when they're, I guess playing in, Frisco, if they make a bowl, then good for them.
yeah. San Francisco Bulls. That's still around?
No, the Frisco Bowl, Frisco, Texas. There's a bowl that I think
Oh,
the Big 12 is, like who the hell wants to go to Frisco around the holidays? I don't know anybody who does. So God, please don't pick UCF to go to the Frisco Bowl.
the Frisco Bowl.
I guess we just have to pay the allotment of tickets, but you might as well just go to the Burger King and give them away to whoever wants them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at Kansas was in the game against Missouri.
Okay.
They were in the they walloped Wagner, which again, and then they walloped West Virginia.
And then they lost to Cincinnati
Yes.
late in the game. I mean, I think it was
Yeah.
kind of a back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those things to where they scored to take the lead late in the game, only to lose the game to
Because they
Cincinnati.
gave Cincinnati too much time.
And Cincinnati beat them at home, beat them at Kansas.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, beat them.
So, I think Cincinnati,
Even Lawrence.
for what it's worth, is starting to show a little bit more consistency over the past 3 years of not being consistent, you know. And I think they're finally starting to get a little bit more consistent everywhere. And having a consistent quarterback, which the quarterback they have is not, he's not a showstopper, but he's a consistent guy. And the defense is still pretty good. I think Corleone's finally gone after the season.
He is gone. No, he left.
Oh, he's gone already.
Yeah, he's gone. Last year was his last year. He was
Okay.
done. He was in last year. I remember because going back, if we're going to talk about Cincinnati here for just a sec, he recovered that one fumble that was a miss. It was a miss snap, and then I remember Mikey and back when Mikey King was playing for us, he and RJ had, and then he jumped on it. He was a sophomore then.
Right.
He had 2 years in the Big 12 with us, so he was a senior last year. He should be graduated.
No, he's there, Matt. He's a senior. I'm seeing right here. He's playing. He's on the defense.
Then he had to have had an injury.
Yeah, well, he's playing this year. I don't know if he's on the roster for this year. So
Well,
we'll talk about that next week, I guess.
yeah,
But I was
but
just making they were consistent, and I think UCF is still fairly consistent on defense.
yeah.
But on offense, it kind of showed where we had two. Do we have two running backs that get over 100 yards?
No, we had one.
Okay, and
Yeah,
one
you
getting
remember
close.
Nixon had that one big run, but other than that, he really didn't have much.
Okay, but he hit a
He
hole
only had like 5 carries.
to where nobody could catch him.
No, yeah, that's true. But he had 5 carries. He was,
Right.
But yeah, the thing is our defense played well, but again, the offense put him in a couple bad situations. And again, you had Sincere Edwards, jump again on a 3rd and 9. They didn't
Yeah.
convert, but they got the ball again and they went down and scored. And it's like, buddy, you've done one of those every single game,
Right.
or at
But
least 3 out of 4. And it's like you got to stop doing that. You got to watch the ball.
we only had like 7 penalties, right?
Yeah.
To where I think we had 15 yards more than last week against North Carolina. I think Carolina we had 8 penalties for about 50 yards, and we have 65 yards, 7 penalties.
Mm-hmm.
We must have had a worse, like a holding call or maybe a personal foul or something like that. But yeah, there are still things that
But again, we
you know,
still more than doubled Kansas State because they had 2 penalties for 25 yards.
well, they held again. I don't want to sit there, but as much holding as they should have had about 150 yards,
Yeah.
and it was like, and it wasn't just me watching the game and going, oh, that's a hold or something like that. Literally, I sat there and looked at social media on Saturday and just how everybody was showing all the holding that never
Yeah.
got called, unless it was against us, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, well, we got jobbed a little bit. So it is what it is. I guess we'll
Yeah.
take our 45 million and and deal with it.
But Kansas comes into this, what, 3-1?
I believe so, yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, it's 2-2 because they lost to Missouri also by 11.
Okay, so they're 2-2.
They're 2-2. They went to Missouri and lost. And again, they've got us next week, followed by Texas Tech the week after. So maybe we could be. I would say we'd be perfect if they won last week. This would be a perfect trap game for them.
Well, I think we got to be able to show that we're a better home team than we are a road team.
Yeah.
And to me, going 7-5 is fine. I'm fine with that. I'll take that.
Well, especially in what, year 0, the year where Coach Frost had no recruits because he got
Right.
hired after National Recruiting Day.
Yeah. No, well, yeah. Again, I'm still just hoping for 6-6, but if we have to win all 6 games at home, then so be it.
Yeah,
I'm
and
fine with that. Because, like I said, 2 of those winnable games, I think, are both at home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit there and sugarcoat it. Oklahoma State is in complete disarray.
Yeah.
After firing Gundy, and
which I don't know why you fired the guy.
Well,
2 games into the season, 3 games into the season, especially when he's been your coach. He's he's an alum of your program. He played for you. You think you let him go at the end of the season?
yeah, I don't think they thought this through. I don't think that they realized if because they were kind of giving him a hard time, and trying to figure out how do you want to do this at the end of the season? Do you want to quit or do you want us to fire you? I mean, either way, we'll still pay out your contract. And he was like, I'm not going to think about this right now, type of thing. And I'm not dealing with this. And they
Yeah,
said, well, and they said, well, why don't you just fire me now then? And they said, well, no, like they said, fine. And per NCAA rules, as soon as the coach is fired, players can leave. And this
yeah,
is before the fourth game. So now you've got guys going, I don't know if I want to play here. I'm probably not going to be here next year. So now you got guys on both sides of the ball to where you're going to start looking for,
grab your bus tickets. Yeah,
yeah, but you're going to get the student body to sit there and start playing games for you.
yeah, and that's why I said
That's
is
why I'm saying that could be a win because I just don't see them having much of a team by the time they show up here.
no, no, I agree. But again, we've got to find 3 wins somewhere.
Right. So that would be four. And then,
Yeah,
I think, I'm not saying we're guaranteed to beat West Virginia, but I think they are having new coaching struggles as well, like we are.
yeah,
It's a home game. I'm just winging a prayer here that we can beat them. That would be five, and then you just got to figure one more out somewhere.
yeah.
However, Kansas would be the best. That's the reason I thought Kansas State, with all of their injuries they had before last week, most on the offensive line, to where I guess it didn't matter because they were going to let these guys hold, everybody and anybody they could get a hold of.
Well, I think they also made the most of their off week. Their bye week.
Yeah, yeah, sure. You know, I find that just at this point, I think it's a little overrated with the off week kind of.
Well, they didn't look like a 1-3 team to me. I mean,
Oh yeah, I know, but they had a lot of momentum in that game. Playing
yeah,
at home, it does help. You know,
yeah,
being able to commit penalties and not get called for it, that helps a lot too, especially to keep drives going. Move the ball, and then you've got players getting injured and then not being and then having to go back. I mean, Taven Jackson, after he got injured, I saw the kid with ice on his shoulder and out of his uniform,
yeah.
suddenly being kind of questioned, can you get back in there?
No, yeah, it was.
Then he goes back in there.
I think he
You know,
solidified his starting
well,
position.
yeah, I think it was something that he needed to kind of be able to show that he could do and kind of lead the team. You know,
Yeah,
and he wasn't as sharp as I've seen him be. But at least he was out there, and I think he's a better home quarterback anyway. And
well,
that's
I think with this team that we have now, I think they will respond better at home. Because again, you got to remember, you got a lot of new faces on this team. Again, who've played together now, what, four games?
yeah,
You put them in a pretty loud, raucous stadium like it is in Manhattan, and
right. The night game too. It's a
yeah.
7 o'clock game
Now we got 7:30
on
game at home.
ESPN too. Yeah, and well, we'll see what happens. But you know, I think our defense is going to have to really kind of set the precedent here and be able to kind of contain Jalen Daniels. Because he does run. He's not a real. He's not a. He's a decent guy who can pick up a first down or two. He's not going to be like Ja'Cory, where Ja'Cory
Yeah,
can take it to the house if you give him 5 feet around him.
yeah.
He can just run away from everybody. But Jalen Daniels is skilled at running the ball. He's more of a passer than a runner, I think, but he can run.
Then a runner.
Yeah.
Well, is he what, a senior?
Let's see. He is a senior. Yes, he's going.
Okay, so he's you know, I guess that's the thing. They're more of a passing team, which again, our DBs, if they get enough pressure from the D line, they should be able to hold as receivers. I mean, what do you think of Kansas's receivers?
I don't know anything about him. To be honest, I haven't watched much of the Kansas. I watched a little bit of the Kansas Cincinnati game, but
Hmm.
I have to really kind of give an opinion of the receivers. As we go through the week, I'll start probably breaking down a little bit more of
Well,
what I think.
Tate Nagy's their big guy as of now. And again,
Bryson Canty or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
Tate Nagy.
We
You
were
got
the tight end is the killer on us all the time. At
well,
least last year and the year before was always the tight end. Whoever we seen to play was always having a monster game against us. But
mhm.
yeah, again, I'll be honest, I just don't know. I know about Jalen Daniels. I've seen enough of him to I know he's one who can be electric at times with his feet, and
Yeah,
he's not the kind of guy I think if you give him enough room, I could see him taking it the whole way. But he's not really that much of a speedster. He's just going to run away from people. But he
yeah,
can pick up a first down, and technically that's all you need. You know,
yeah.
and he's more of a thrower, and he's an accurate thrower. He's the kind of guy that keeps his head down, eyes downfield at all times.
Hmm.
And, that's the kind of thing to where we're going to have to be able to kind of limit his ability to kind of escape.
Yes.
So we're going to have to put probably more people in the box than we care to. I think our defensive backs will do just fine as long as we can get pressure on him.
Yeah. Well, they're running back. What Daniel Hishaw, is he still banged up? Is he going to play? Is he, because he's been nicked up. I don't think he played last week.
I don't know. Yeah,
So if he didn't play, now he is out for our game too. That could be a big hamper to their run game.
well, this is their sixth game.
Yeah.
Sixth game.
Well, they haven't had a bye week yet.
Yeah, I find that kind of hard to believe.
Hmm.
It seems like everybody else has. Kansas, I guess, after us is probably a no. They play Texas Tech after us, and then it's a bye week. So, gosh,
Yeah.
they play 7 games for their first bye week,
To me, that's kind of where you want it.
and they have another bye week at the end of the 10th
Yeah.
at the end of the 10th game, and you go, well, okay, but yeah, they haven't had a. They've this is going to be the sixth. They've had 5 games. So what are they 3-2?
Hmm.
I'm sure they beat Fresno State, right?
Yes.
Wagner, I'm sure they beat them.
They beat Wagner
Lost
bad.
to Mizzou,
And they beat West Virginia.
West
And
Virginia.
lost
So that's
to
three and
Cincinnati.
two. Yeah, it's three and
Yeah.
two. Okay, well, I guess we'll find out, right?
We will find out.
What we have in store, to where it should be a good crowd at the bounce house. That's the one good thing about this game is it is at home, you know,
Yeah.
and I do expect it to be two capacity on Saturday night,
Yeah.
and we got to just make sure that we do not get injuries to our quarterback. Although I think Scott Frost is saying that they're day to day anyway. We're not sure who's going to play. You might see Cam Fancher back in there come Saturday night.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
At least he's
Healthy.
more healthier than the other two.
Yeah.
And then you got Davi, which Davi's probably taking a few more steps, more
This-
snaps, than in previous weeks.
yeah.
But I guess I would see, because Taven's injury is on his non-throwing arm,
Yeah.
non-throwing shoulder. So technically, I'm sure it hurts.
Well, I guarantee you, they're using all week here to rehab him. He's probably heck. He might even be, in the training room right now getting a little treatment.
Yeah.
So because of I think if they can use Taven, they're going to use him because he's
Yeah. Did Dylan Wade? He didn't play this past weekend, did he?
Dylan Wade did not play.
He
No,
had a separated shoulder as well.
yeah, he was injured. He did not play.
Maybe he'll be back as well. Again, I'm hoping we play better just at home than we do on the road right now. Like I said, we were pretty sketchy on the first game at home, and we've continuously got better to where these
Hmm.
games are just, you can tell, are more comfortable, on the home turf than being on the road.
Yeah.
And I think the road kind of will show, like, if there are any kind of cracks or, inconsistencies, the road's going to expose it.
Yeah, but I guess Kansas State ran the ball real well last week.
Against us for the
No,
week.
I'm sorry, Kansas, the Jayhawks. I mean,
Okay.
445 yards rushing. That's a lot.
Well, then what Jalen Daniels have throwing? I thought he had 445 yards throwing.
No, I'm sorry. That's right. It's throwing. They had 152 passing. I'm sorry. My
152
old
running,
eyes. Was
445 throwing, 150.
they had
Running.
445 throwing, 152 rushing.
Yeah, I mean 445 yards throwing. That just goes shows what kind of quarterback that guy is.
Yeah,
I don't know how many rushing yards he had, but I did see with the limited action, I saw that he was picking up first downs with his legs.
but if you look at him, he was. I mean, Kansas was only three of nine on third downs.
Yeah,
That's
that's one thing we're going to have to get better at this week is
we
is
do.
is basically containing the third down and the fourth down.
Yeah.
Like
Well, also too, again, we've had another week where we gave them practically a first down because we jumped off sides.
yeah, Sincere Edwards is a true sophomore.
Yeah.
And no, he just trying to get at it. Like last, North Carolina was, it was Johnny Walker who jumped off side one play. And it was like he knows he shouldn't be doing it. So what are you going to say, right?
Yeah.
And just like Sincere Edwards usually is a guy who can make things happen. You're just like
It's something you got to work on in practice. I mean, it's just
right. And I mean, I just remember that number 78, the left guard or the left tackle there, was was just who was he grabbing? Who's the guy from Tulsa?
for us.
Yeah. The defensive tackle, Lockett.
Yeah.
He used to grab him all game. Whenever Lockett was in, he was sitting there having to sit there and get this guy off of him. And I just remember the one time a couple times when he'd sit there and try to do that to Nigel Kelly because they kind of shift over, and Kelly was just way too fast for him, and he was like trying to catch smoke.
Yeah.
Always going the other side.
It's like I said, that's last week. This week again, when you look at the team stats of Kansas last year or Kansas last week, they're a very pass happy offense.
Right.
But I mean, 152 yards, they can run it. Now, I don't know if it's just the deficiency with Cincinnati. And by the way, Mark, I did not see a stat for Corleone on defense. Either he did not play, or again, as I had thought, he's graduated because there was no defensive stat for him last week's game.
Okay, I'm just the annual that I get of all the Big 12. He's the featured player is Corleone.
Yeah,
and it says senior next to him. I'm like, well, okay. We'll find out in 2 weeks, right? Up in Cincinnati.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like I said, Cincinnati is playing better, but that's one of those games where we know them and they know us.
Yeah,
anything can happen. Like it or not. I'm not saying that we're going to win the game, but I do think even going into Cincinnati, we've won there before.
Yeah,
a few times.
And we can do it. I mean,
we can win there just like they can win in our place.
The last time we played them there, we won there.
Right.
Okay. But I mean, you look at Cincinnati and Kansas last week. Cincinnati had 26 more plays.
Oh wow,
that's a lot.
Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah, time of possession.
Then I'm sitting there going, okay, so he had 445 yards with 26 less plays than Cincinnati.
Yeah,
he must have been bombing.
Yeah,
throwing the ball downfield and completing. And we're
going to get possession
almost
10 minutes less possession.
Right.
Now, there was one fumble in the game, again, lost by Kansas, which that's. But again, Cincinnati had nine penalties to Kansas's 5. So kind of like us, Cincinnati's kind of a heavily penalized team. But again, you have 81 plays for Cincinnati, 55 for Kansas.
Yeah, that's a big disparity. Big disparity there to her.
And again, 3 of 9 on third downs, which means they could have won. Just not had a lot of third downs because they were moving the ball. Now they were 2 for 2 on fourth down. But again, Cincinnati's 3 for 3 on fourth down.
And we were 0-2 on fourth down, weren't we? On Saturday.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we got to get better at that. Or I
Yeah.
think the one thing they were saying we could have gotten a field goal rather than going for it, and not that it would have been a difference, but there are a couple plays that I think
Well, we
when
also had it was a offsides or illegal procedure penalty in the one where we did get that second field goal. Let's say we go down and score that one. I mean, that's it's 31-17. That now it's 31-24. So it's a one-score game.
right. And
Again,
like I said, I'm going to count it as first road game kind of not jitters, but things you got to work on when you're on the road.
well, let's face it. For out of the was it 70 new players? So you think 95 on a Division One, Power Five roster. So you think about it, almost 70% of our team, Mark, this was their first road game
Right,
playing as a team.
right.
And again, it went to a very unhospitable, Bill Schneider Stadium in Kansas,
Yeah,
Kansas State.
right,
They're in Manhattan. It's not an easy place to play.
right.
Well, what I did like about them is they didn't quit.
Yeah,
You know,
true. Yeah,
they
I
didn't
mean,
mail it in. They, like they stayed on it and they played till the end. And I'm okay with that.
yeah. The first thing I'm seeing about Jalen Daniels, Matt, this is his sixth year.
Really.
Yeah,
So he's part of the code bunch.
six. Yeah, this is 6 years. So I guess did he get injured 1 year? I guess.
He had to. I mean, if he's got 6 years, we remember too is in the football season of 2020 didn't count against you,
Right.
so you could play the
I thought
entire
all those
season.
guys had phased out by now, but I guess he's probably the last part of it.
Well, yeah, again, you think about if you're 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, or if you're let's say 20, 21, 22. I mean, that would be 25 would be your sixth year.
Right.
So he could have played 20,
Right.
redshirted 21, and now or redshirted a year where he got an injury. You're right. I mean, the math is tricky because I thought all the 6 year people guys were going too, but apparently not.
Apparently, yeah. Well, yeah, he's 6 year Jalen Daniels. So I'm like, oof.
But again, he was what 19 or 28. That's not bad.
Right.
20 TD
Yeah.
passes.
Per the periodical I'm seeing, when they talk about defenses, like the Jayhawks need to improve on defense. They finished no better than 10th in the conference,
Yeah,
categories last season. It's like, okay, so like again, I think our defense, I think Jalen Daniels is going to be quite the task, but I think our defense is the best defense we've had in at least 5-6 years.
yeah,
And if our offense can get going against hopefully a defense that, let's face it, they're saying is possibly the 10th or worse of the conference. Maybe we can. Like I said, we just need to figure out wins here at this point.
I agree.
We got 8 more games left, and we got to get 3 wins out of those 8 games. And for me, I thought we had a better chance last week than we did. I mean, we lost by what, 14?
Yes.
And it's just one of those kind of games to where I don't think we played a perfect game, and I just think things got away from us, and nobody's going to give you anything in this league.
No.
At all.
No.
Some other people might get things, but we're not going to get anything. Nothing's going to be given to us in this league.
And again, he threw to 7 receivers. Seven people caught the ball. So that's
Oh, really?
That's spreading the ball around. That's spread.
Was that us or that UCF?
So that's Kansas.
Kansas. So seven different people caught. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's
You got some guys who had some. I mean, you look at Emmanuel Henderson, Mark, five receptions, 214 yards.
Yeah.
That's an explosive day. A 42.8 yard average, 2 touchdowns. Wow.
You do realize Lance Leipold, the Kansas coach, was the one who was the coach at Buffalo when our old AD was at Buffalo before he came to UCF.
Yeah.
Danny White.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny White went to him first. And Lance turned it down because he was going to Kansas.
Yeah.
He
He
wanted
wanted to be a
he wanted a
Power Five
power
first,
five job over
opposed to
another
a
G5 job,
yeah,
and that's how we got Scott. Scott was the next call, but yeah, so there's that interesting. We almost had Lance Leipold because I
yeah.
could pretty much guarantee
Well,
you
yeah, I think
if
Scott
we
will be
were
fine.
at Power Five then, we may have never even met Pat Scott.
No, I tell you what. I mean, Mark, I my guy, is Scott Frost.
Right.
Your guy, Scott Frost. And I mean, I think Scott can really, but again, this is year zero for him. Again, he didn't have a recruiting class. I won't
Right.
say he got some decent players in it. He got some young players. I think he,
Right. I think with what he picked up out of the portal, he did well. He
yeah,
and the rest of the coaching staff did real well. We had Coach Clark pass away, so you had these kids dealing with that last week.
yeah. I mean, I saw his interview where he said he didn't really want to kind of dwell on that. He said, "Hey, look,
You can't, right?
yeah, Kansas State had a good performance." And like I said,
Right. You can't dwell on that. It's a tragedy, but
yeah,
unfortunately, I think if Coach Clark could have said anything, it would have been like, don't let this, you know, disrupt anything. Just
yeah,
you I mean, you do worry about his wife and his children, things like that. I mean, I do know that they're trying. I guess they'll probably pay his contract out,
yeah.
because that's all kind of an insurance thing, I'm sure, at this point.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think he was probably on the job anyway when it happened, and all you can do is really kind of hope and pray for his family's salvation here, that
Yeah.
you know, they can move
Yeah,
forward.
it's a tough loss and again for the offensive line because
Right.
that's your coach. That's the guy you deal with.
So we have a
But
new
we got to
offensive
pick
line
it up.
coach.
We got to get ready to go. We play next week.
Right.
This is what 5 days on Saturday. It will be a night game in the bounce house, which I think that will be good.
Right. 7 o'clock game. Hopefully it's, we have which hurricane is out there on the coast right now getting ready to start heading east on us.
Oh, I don't know.
Hopefully it should pull some things with it.
Yeah,
We have a nice clear night on Saturday night, with 45,000 people inside the bounce house.
yeah,
If it's 7 o'clock, that means it's a night game.
yeah. It will be a night game.
It's not like early season here at this point. It's a little bit after 7 o'clock now, and it's pitch dark outside. So we'll
Yeah,
definitely have that night game going.
that's a definite.
Yep.
But again, you look at Kansas. Is I won't say every bit as good as Kansas State. I
Right.
just think we play them at home as opposed on the road.
Which should help, right?
Yeah. Did we play Kansas and Kansas State 2 years ago? Both of them on the road.
Yes.
They're both road games, right? Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, yeah, that was a tough season. They had to go to. And they were like not a week. They weren't back to back, but they're like a week apart.
Right.
I'm
Not
mistaken.
a
We
week
go.
apart. They may have been 2 weeks apart, but yeah,
Yeah, it
it
was.
was one thing to we play K State first, lost to them, and the quarterback at K State at the time was the Ohio State quarterback last season, who won a national
Okay.
championship. They kind of ran him out of town for this kid they got now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, I know. Yeah. And it's like, I guess he's got the kind of offense he wants to run, which is kind of dual threat.
Yeah.
And it's more run than pass, although he can pass. He's just, you know,
Oh, he did a good job. I mean, I'll give him that. And I said I'm looking at Kansas here, and Kansas again. They've got a decent running game, I guess. I mean, not too much. Yeah, one guy, that's what LaShawn Williams, 10 carries, 64 yards. And you got Jalen Daniels, who also ran 14 times.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Which again, Mark, that's the most runs of anybody.
How many yards did Jalen Daniels get on the 14?
He got 55, but that doesn't, count how many times he actually possibly could have got sacked or.
No. Yeah. I mean, like I said, he's not a real dangerous runner where he's going to take it to the house. I'm sure he is if you're
He's
spread
elusive.
out enough, but he's an elusive guy who can pick up the first down for
Yeah,
sure.
he's probably elusive.
So that makes it interesting.
But again, Cincinnati, Mark, had no I'm sorry. They had no interceptions and they had one sack. So,
Okay.
I mean, I don't think, you can't really get him for, especially if he's the quarterback, you can't get him for tackle for a loss. It's either a sack or it's a gain. So
Right.
with him, Daniels did run it 14 times again. So he is their obviously their passer because they didn't have anybody else for the ball.
Well,
And
the K State quarterback was a good runner, so we should be able to know, we should be at least be up for
we've got to tighten up some of those running lanes too this week.
Okay.
That was one thing we kind of, and I'm not saying about the running backs, but the Kansas State quarterback did get a few long runs on us. Well, we had what, third and long, and he ran all the way down to the 2 yard line, and he got a touchdown on the next play after the Jakari Brown interception.
Okay.
Again, we've got to be able to nip that in the bud. And again, they get a field goal as opposed now it's only 6-0 as opposed to 10-0.
Right. Well,
If we're going to go score, we're going to get more field goals, less touchdowns.
yeah, we got to get more touchdowns and less field goals too.
Yeah,
I think that was the one thing that really kind of helped us with the North Carolina
works
game.
both ways, right?
Yeah, is that we were able to. I mean, we got a few field goals, but we were able to kind of get more touchdowns and field goals, and that's what helps kind of win the game. I mean, everybody's picked us to finish last, or no better than 13th in this conference. So I don't think we'll be favored this week.
No,
But I do think that we are at home. I think if we can kind of stay consistent on offense, we should be able to at least,
make a game of it.
hopefully, yeah, make a game of it and try to get a W here. Like I said, we got to get back in the win column as soon as we can.
Yeah, and I think
we're three
even if
and one. You don't want to end up being 3-3 after Cincinnati,
no,
and then kind of going, okay, now what? Because
yeah,
that's when it starts. We've seen this the last couple seasons where you lose
and
5 in a row and it just kind of takes the wind out of your sails.
any kind of momentum you had in that 3-0 start now is evaporated.
It's gone, yeah, because now you're 3-5 and and playing tougher teams.
3-5, and you got 4 games left. You got your two toughest really games at the end of the season with Texas Tech and possibly BYU or Baylor.
Right, Baylor could be a tough game as well. Yeah,
and
those are all three on the road.
It's in Waco, so
Yeah, all three are on the road.
yeah,
those games, which it's going to make it interesting right there. To where the Texas Tech game, that's going to be that's going to be a tough one. Unless they really just take us for granted and somehow we can sit there and kind of capitalize on some things. Other than that, I think Texas Tech's defense is a little too good for our offense. I think their offense is good enough to really kind of wear down a defense as long as
well, they're ranked right outside the top 10 right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the 11th ranked team in the country, and we're going to them.
Right.
So that's going to be a wonder you get. We don't get injuries out of that one.
Well, I saw a couple of shows about like ESPN and how ESPN is fixing the top 25 for SEC and SEC teams. Like, is Vanderbilt like highly ranked?
Yeah,
Vanderbilt. And I was like, come on, and I don't want to hear like, well, they're doing no, come on, they're gonna start getting their head beat out in 2 weeks from when they finally start playing somebody, and then they'll be so highly ranked that they'll still have a chance to make the playoff.
Well, I still think they're kind of given a lot of kudos because they beat Alabama last year.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to switch from that, and Alabama went into Georgia and won a game, didn't they?
Yeah,
421. Where
I think I think Alabama just has Georgia's number.
Yeah, I think Georgia has a lot of talent. They have a very good defense, but their offense, is still trying to find that explosiveness that I think that their talent probably has. They're just not, I think, a really good Georgia team would have beaten this Alabama team.
Yeah,
Especially at home. and
No, I agree.
we'll see.
They they that Alabama team looked much better in the Georgia game than again between the hedges in Georgia than they did in Tallahassee. It's like I don't know who scheduled those that season. It was like, why would you play Florida State in Tallahassee and Georgia and
Well, you
Georgia?
get Florida State next year, and you get probably Georgia next year at home. So
Well, I think
you got
there's
to
just
give to get, right?
the Georgia game just because they played Georgia at home last year.
Right, and so they'll be playing Georgia next year at home,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
now Florida State's going to have to definitely go back. If they don't go next year, they'll go in 27,
Hmm.
and you know we'll see how that works out. To where
Yeah.
Florida State lost a tough one, you know, the curse of Gus, and it doesn't get any easier for Florida State going into
It does
Miami.
not.
Although they do host Miami, they don't have to go to Miami.
True.
And I think Miami had some issues with Florida for a while until they were able to kind of figure out that Florida's not going to score. You know,
Yeah.
Lagway's not doing well this season, and you know, it's definitely a situation I think that where what you got here is I think it's time to sit Lagway and see what you got in your backup there, who was there for spring and who was there for summer workouts and played and things like that.
Yeah.
To be, as the Gators are what 1-3
Yeah.
to our
And host Texas this weekend.
right, which should be a good game for them if they can figure out that offense. Because I know the defense is there.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm just not impressed with Archer Manning.
Yeah. A lot of people
I
are
think if his last name was Wilson, he would be sitting on the bench by now.
probably.
Or
Well, he's a freshman, and that's what
I
freshmen.
think he's a sophomore, isn't he? Or did
Oh, you're right. He's a no. He might be a redshirt freshman.
he played last year? I don't know if he
But
played.
not, I don't think he played more than the 4 games though. I think he's just a
Yeah,
redshirt
so
freshman.
he's a redshirt freshman, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not impressed. You know,
No. Yeah, I agree.
like I said, if his name was a different name than Manning, he wouldn't be playing. He'd be
You're
sitting on the
you're
bench.
probably correct. Yes.
But he does have the pedigree last name is the only reason why he's out there
Hmm.
making a lot of money doing it.
A lot of money.
Well, like his two uncles would have gone into Ohio State. I think it would have won that game. Against Ohio State, where he couldn't do it.
True.
Nonetheless, this is supposed to be a UCF podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
We just don't have much to talk about other than it's going to be a tough game against Kansas. What are we going to see in offense? How injured are we on offense at quarterback? Both,
Well, we get the injury report. What, Thursday?
I thought we'll probably get either tomorrow or
Okay.
later than Wednesday. I think the Big 12 does require an injury report. I think it might be Tuesday night, but I know it's by Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's
So
going on.
we'll see how bad we're off. You got any predictions for Kansas UCF?
No, not anymore because I don't know what I'm going to say. I will predict that I will be there to watch
Yeah.
it up and close and personal and cheering on UCF. But at this point, I just don't know if this team is consistent enough to beat Kansas even at home. I hope they
Yeah.
are, but you're gonna have to show me. Until you show me, I can't. I can't sit there and kind of consider that.
Yeah.
I thought the North Carolina kind of lulled me into oh, we got a shot here, and then after what I saw Saturday was kind of a lot of the problems that I think anybody who
A lot of what we expected happened.
yeah, would kind of say, well, that's kind of what you get when you get 70 new players and a whole new offense, with the exception. I mean, you had Paul Rubelt and Miles Montgomery, the only two offensive guys back.
Yeah.
That's it. Everybody else is new.
Yes.
I mean, you have Kylan Fox, but he was kind of a backup to the tight end who's now at Florida State.
Florida State.
But so we have 2.5 players from last year, and everybody else is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny, I guess, was a backup last year, who's backup this year. at guard or tackle, or he's kind of a utility lineman, you know. But
Well, you can kind of tell on the offense last week against Kansas State, they would Kansas State would hide formations on us, and we struggled with they'd bring the safety down into the formation of and we had guys have a hard time picking him up, and then when we were picking him up, then they were losing their initial blocking assignment, and it was kind of blowing up on us.
right, right.
So I hope we can get better at that, going into the season, because it really does need to be addressed.
Well, yeah, like I said, I think Scott can get it straightened out. I don't know how quickly. I don't know how injured everybody is. I think Taven coming back in really helped. Kind of showed that he fought through some adversity, and like I said, he is playing at home. It should be a packed house,
Yeah.
right? And we'll hope for the best, right? That's all we can really do,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think if we do as we hope for the best, if they play for what we're hoping for, I could see it being a 10 to 14 point win.
Yeah.
If we have kind of the same problems we had last week on the road, which we won't be on the road this week, like penalties, multiple quarterbacks playing because of injury, things like that, a lot of inconsistency on offense, we're going to get beat by at least 4.
Yeah.
I mean, win or lose, they always say it's better to have a win than a loss. But this loss, if we do lose, it's not going to crush the season.
Yeah.
It's going to start getting to the point to where we're going to have to start going, okay, we got to figure something out here. We're going to have to start, figuring where we're going to start winning here, because it gets nothing but harder from here.
No, I agree. And like I said, it could be, this is a very pivotal game for the season.
Because then we're at Cincinnati, which,
yeah,
and then it's hopefully, West Virginia's at home the week or 2 weeks after that. Let me see. Yeah, it's the week after. So,
yeah.
Then we're at Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be tough. Then we got Houston at home, which is going to be tough.
Yeah. Well, if you look at last year's game, we started out with 3-0.
Yeah.
Then we didn't win another game, Mark, until the space game against Arizona.
Right.
We lost then again everyone after
like all of October, no wins, and like the first week of November, I think we finally, what is that? Yeah, Arizona was
the space game.
3-0, lost to Colorado, lost to Florida, lost to Cincinnati, lost to Iowa State, lost to BYU.
Yeah.
And like I said, it starts to stack up on you, and we can't really have it stack up on us.
No. Yeah, not with this team.
We got to try to figure out how to get a win this weekend, and it's not going to be an easy task.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't go in there thinking you can't win, because if you think you can't win, then why play, right?
Yeah.
Season's over, game's over if you can't win. If you don't
exactly. Exactly. Well, if you're not going to have a prediction, I think we're going to fall this week again, 3-2.
All right. Well, I'll take the win. I think
okay.
The home field advantage. I think we're going to be a little bit better. I think it's going to be a close one, probably be 3 points or less. But I have a feeling we'll win.
I hope you're right. Like I said, but I still think
just because you're voting, loss, I'm going to go ahead and vote win. But if we do win, it will be a close one.
Yeah, and I guess I'm a pessimist by nature. I guess
I shall be hoarse when we speak next week. Screaming my head off.
And that's good, because that's what these kids might need, is a lot of us old alumni screaming at them,
right.
cheering them on.
That's right.
And again, you're right. They're kids, and anything can happen. So it's just hope, right?
Yep.
Well, that's about all I got. How about you?
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap up. I guess, like I said, I'm going to predict UCF with a close win. At the bounce house, packed house. You're predicting a loss.
Yeah.
I guess a loss doesn't matter if it's a blowout. It's almost I prefer just so I could sit there and, if we're gonna lose, I don't want to lose on the last play.
Nor do I.
Because that could really turn the game into a tailspin. turn the
So,
season into a
yeah.
tailspin. But I'm gonna hope that defense is going to keep us in this game and that we make enough plays on offense to win. Close, but we
Well,
do.
again, for us, again, this is all season two. For us to win games, we need help with the turnover ratio. We
Right,
need help to keep penalties down. We need to play good assignment football. And
right,
again, if we can play good assignment football, then I like the way they look. But if we don't play good assignment football, then it's and do we have that chance? I still think we got a few things to iron out. That's
right,
just me, which I didn't, but just the way I feel.
right. Okay, well, game is Saturday night, 7 p.m. It will be on ESPN2 TV wise. Obviously, it's on both radio on the internet as well as 740 here in
Yeah,
Orlando, and you know, let's hope for the best, right?
let's hope for the best.
All
Again,
right.
for Knightspeed, I am Matt Johnson,
I am Mark Johnson.
and go Knights.
Charge on.